afternoon. I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It's Monday, February 9th. The federal government's latest census reveals that residents in the Rio Grande Valley are getting richer and faster than any other area in Texas. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal reports that houses in the Brownsville and Harlingen metro area from 2020 to 2024 increased their household median income to $52,600. For the metro area comprising McAllen, Edinburgh, and Mission, the typical household income for the same time period jumped up to $54,300, also a 10% increase. The Raymondville micro area in Willacy County went from $35,500 to $54,100, a 24% increase, the fastest in the state among areas of similar sizes and the 8th fastest in the country. Stark County saw a less than 1% increase, worth taking into account when other micro areas in Texas saw decreases that went as far as 22%. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal is in partnership with KEDT. Looking at the bigger picture of statewide economic outlook, Texas will see job growth of little more than 1% in 2026 after flat job growth last year. Texas Public Radio's Brian Kirkpatrick reports on an economic outlook from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Nearly 155,000 new jobs are expected to be created in Texas this year.
Pia Orenius, a vice president and labor economist at the Federal Reserve Bank in Big D, says the federal immigration crackdown constrained the labor supply in Texas in 2025 and will likely do so in 2026.
It's almost more the chilling effect than it is people actually leaving or being deported. We have a very large immigrant population.
She says employer surveys are mostly optimistic about the Texas economy in 2026. Orenia says while new home construction in Texas will likely be soft, non-home construction should be strong. She says the AI boom and the construction of new data centers will keep Texas second to only Virginia in the data center industry. I'm Brian Kirkpatrick in San Antonio.
South Texans likely watched or heard about last night's Super Bowl. And while the game itself might have been uneventful, that was not the case for one South Texas resident. Valley Central News spotted a Brownsville native among many dancers who performed alongside Bad Bunny at the game's halftime show. Homer Hanna High School alum Gabriela Ibel was among the dancers who were selected to perform on the biggest stage in the country last night. Researchers at Texas A&M-Corpus Christi's Harte Research Institute say technology, which includes AI models and imaging flow cytobots, or IFCBs, enables them to early detect harmful algal blooms like red tide. The combined tech can help state agencies protect wildlife and humans, as well as save millions in dollars for coastal businesses. But before we get into all the science talk, let me set the scene for you. You're walking on the shore somewhere along the Texas coast. On some days, one might notice discolored water, and then an odor that's a combination of dead and decaying marine life and rotting algae. That's likely the product of harmful algal bloom, one of the most common ones, red tide.
Red tide is one that folks in the coastal bend are a little more familiar with. It's caused by Karenia brevis. That is a species that the IFCB is able to detect. And in fact, ones operated by other researchers have detected blooms of Karenia brevis in this area in the past.
That's Dr. Laura Beecraft, an assistant researcher scientist at the Harte Research Institute at Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. HRI researchers are expanding a network of automated detection sensors for harmful algal bloom, or HAB. The technology will help improve their ability to provide early warning of harmful blooms to resource managers and governmental agencies.
Our team is working to expand our capacity for harmful algal bloom monitoring using a combination of advanced instrumentation, which is an imaging flow cytobot, or IFCB, and AI models. And with this will allow us to know when toxic species are present and increasing.
Officials say the technology can save millions of dollars for coastal businesses, reduce potential health risks, and bridge data gaps on HABs that can inform future management measures.
The short-term immediate ones reduce the incidence of human illness if and when a harmful algal bloom occurs and help protect coastal businesses from economic loss, in particular the shellfish harvesting industry.
Beecraft says when toxic blooms occur and the state agencies do extra testing, then they may close shellfish harvesting so that people don't get sick from consuming contaminated seafood, and those businesses don't lose all that product. When the bloom ends, the shellfish naturally will filter out the toxin. Currently, HRI manages IFCBs deployed at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department facility in Port O'Connor, as well as the Texas State Aquarium in Corpus Christi. Additional instruments are planned for deployment this year at the Key Allegro Oyster Farm in Fulton along Aransas Bay and the Texas Texas AgriLife TPWD hatchery in Flower Bluff in the upper Laguna Madre.
When they're in the field, they need both a power source and internet. We deploy ours with their own modems on cellular networks and pull the data remotely that way. So we monitor their operation remotely on a near daily basis to make sure everything's working properly, and we pull the data multiple times a day. So we have, in pretty near real time or just a few hour delay, we know what's present at our different locations.
In the past, Texans have learned about impending HABs after negative impacts were already observed, such as fish kills. HRI researchers, including in the Institute's Coastal and Marine Geospatial Sciences Lab, are currently working on creating automated warnings that could be sent to agencies, including Texas Parks and Wildlife Department and the Texas Department of State Health Services.
They can then use this data to conduct additional testing that might be needed and make management decisions necessary to protect human health and coastal businesses.
HRI also collaborates with the site partners for the instruments, which Beecraft says provides a dual benefit.
It makes our operation and deploying these instruments safer and a little bit easier, and the data not only provides those immediate benefits for early warning of HABs, protecting human health and businesses, but just the regular phytoplankton data, the healthy species, those are often of interest to our site partners.
Institute officials say the deployment of the IFCBs has opened possibilities in terms of studying HABs. With the technology, they're hoping to give the public a chance to spot HABs in the future.
The state agencies will provide those warnings to relevant communities and businesses, and if necessary, they will inform local health officials if something like a beach closure is warranted in the case of a severe bloom. And then we just hope to provide more information to the general public about what's growing in their water.
And tomorrow on Morning Edition and South Texas Midday at noon, we take a look at Corpus Christi City Council's meeting agenda for this week. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.